Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey, I'm Scott, and this is Church is Lame, the podcast where we try to fix the church by talking about the stupid things churches do that break the entire body.
You know what breaks my body?
Uh-oh, what breaks your body? I'm afraid to ask.
Well, the answer is everything. I'm getting older, man.
I hear
But
that.
um, but I guess some people out there are concerned about women's bodies. Is that right?
It seems to be the season.
Mm.
Absolutely. I found an interesting article from the Christian Post. The headline reads, Planned Parenthood's RV abortion clinic raises safety concerns. And so, as
Hmm.
most of you probably know, if you're watching this show, you probably know that once the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, many states in the country immediately enacted laws that outlawed most abortions
Hmm.
across the board, except in very few circumstances, and in some cases, under no circumstances, um, can you have an abortion. And so, what has happened um, is Planned Parenthood is now putting an RV. I think I've only read about one, but of course, I think if they're doing one, they're most likely doing multiple RVs
Probably.
at the out just outside the border of states that don't allow abortions, with the obvious goal of making it making abortions accessible to those who now do not have access to abortions within their own state, right?
Yeah. Although I'm like calling it an RV seems like a weird choice of words.
Yeah, I don't know what else. Like, does bus sound any better? A mobile clinic.
I think
Yeah,
mobile clinic because it's like I don't. I mean, we call it a taco truck when it's a truck
yeah,
that you sell tacos out of. But
right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't.
So
I don't want to call it an abortion truck. That just sounds very wrong.
yeah, yeah. So I am of the opinion, and you can disagree with me, because I'm afraid my general position is that most Christians are weak-minded, and not
No.
that not that I'm the sharpest knife in the drawer. I freely admit I am not the sharpest knife in the cabinet, right? But I feel like I do have at least a high school level of logic and reasoning, and being able to call BS BS
Hmm.
when things don't add up, right? But I think what happened was Christians got co opted into a simple line of thinking on a topic that is anything but simple, which is abortion, right?
Yeah.
Abortion's a murder. T shirts are everywhere, signs are everywhere. A very simple way to think about a problem that encompasses more than just the aborting of a baby, a fetus, whatever your terminology is, right?
Hmm.
Abortion covers things like poverty, equality, upward mobility for women. There's all sorts of other areas that need to be considered in the abortion conversation. But simple Christians just took, they found a couple verses in the Bible that they were told mean this. This is what it means. We're telling you it means that. Told by politicians that this is what it means. And now abortion's murder, and our whole life's thing is just to stop abortion. And so it seems to have worked, except that on the other side, experts said, no, 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 you're not going to stop abortions at all. You're just going to make it harder to get an abortion, and therefore you're going to make it less safe for women to have an abortion. And lo and behold, here we are in October 2022. And guess what? It's less safe and it's harder to get an abortion. But have you stopped anybody? Not really.
No, I mean
Yeah.
when you look at pre Roe versus Wade, the number of abortions now with a higher population is lower than the number of abortions before Roe versus Wade was passed.
Yeah.
So clearly that wasn't a thing that's worth being concerned over as much as some people want to make it a thing to be concerned over.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, I just in my gut reaction to this RV abortion clinic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like this mobile clinic. I mean, I would want to know, what's the standard of safety of hygiene in one of these facilities? Like, how does that compare to a standalone facility? I mean, I would think that you can't just up and make a mobile abortion clinic without getting licensure of some kind from the state.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on these things, so I don't even want to utter a word because, I definitely don't want to pass myself off as understanding the mechanics of operating an abortion clinic.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's
Yeah.
like, so is it like that Christians are just now wanting to complain about these mobile clinics? Is like, well, I think they're not safe.
Right.
Is it just because, it's they aren't safe, or is it because the Christians just don't like the fact that now somebody's actually reaching out to make it, more convenient for some people to get that service?
Right. This, in my mind, comes down to any argument that wins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who simply are not going to be happy until women are back to the stage of not having any rights, right? Like you're going to be barefoot and pregnant at home in the kitchen, and you're not allowed to vote, and like we're going to go back to the Old Testament of women as property, and there's certain women who are not going to be happy until that's where we are. And so
Yeah.
it seems like there's this fundamentalist branch that has gained enough traction that they speak for all of evangelical Christianity in America. And this is where they're going, is stamping out
Mhm.
all abortion everywhere. And whatever argument it takes to get there is fair game.
Yeah, and like we've talked about this, before, but I mean, it seems to me that the first thing you can do to protect your women is not to make something like abortions illegal in your state,
Right.
because if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems before Roe versus Wade is that in a state where abortion is illegal, it is not regulated.
Right.
And if you think that, having something being illegal in your state is going to keep it from existing in your state, you are the most ignorant kind of fool I can talk to.
Yeah.
Because like you have a dry county, well, they're going to go to the next county to get alcohol.
Yeah.
You prohibit alcohol, somebody's going to brew it in their backyard. Make pot illegal, they're going to grow it in their closets. Just whatever you do, people are going to do it.
Yeah.
But if you can't regulate it, it's not going to be safe. And it maybe it's going back to that punitive nature of evangelicalism that, well, if you die getting an illegal abortion, you deserve to die.
Yeah.
Which is just a real not loving your neighbor way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. My concern is the regressive nature of the modern church.
Mm-hmm.
We have spent like decades now trying to win rights for Black people and other minorities. We spent decades trying to win rights for women. We've tried to convince that the church is the light of the world, and then yet we put all of our effort into having the government be the hammer of persuasion, right? Having the law be the hammer of persuasion instead of the goodness of Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because like to me, it seems obvious. It's like, if you're concerned about women giving up their babies for abortion and you think that's murder, where are you, the church, in this equation? You're trying to stop them from getting abortions. So your job is not to make it illegal. Your job is to get these babies somewhere to live.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Christians never rose up to like make adoption easy. I mean, like, ask anybody who's gone through the adoption or fostering process. It's a pain.
It's horrible. Yeah.
There's not enough parents. There's just, it can be difficult for people that want to do it to get even in contact with people they need to get in contact with. Christians have done nothing to make that process easier or better.
Yeah.
So it's like their own inactivity in this arena, right, has made abortions remain in demand.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's what angers me the most about it. It's like, you've done nothing, Christian, to handle it, and then you do this to make it worse for them.
Right. I don't know how to form this idea that if the Son has set you free, then you are free indeed. And it seems like the modern church wants to put everybody in shackles.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you cannot have the joy of living your life the way you want. Like the most basic idea, like, live your life without an oppressive government. And instead, what the church wants is the government to come down and get in people's bedrooms and get in people's sexual lives, to the point like we're even now, this is a little bit of a tangent, but because of the new battlefield of LGBTQ and trans issues,
Mhm.
now there are schools in America that are keeping track of girls' periods, like their menstrual cycles. Um,
That's not creepy.
I don't know why it has something to do with sports, but now like there's like if you're a conservative Christian in America, you should believe in your right to privacy. And now those walls are being torn down in 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 some bizarre attempt to be, it's not even the morality police. What is it? It's the normalization of one stream of Christian thinking police, you know?
Right, because that
Yeah.
definitely seems to me to be the thing. It's like if you
Yeah.
don't fit into this narrow vein of whatever exactly that flavor of Christianity is. I mean, I can call it, evangelicalism or
Yeah.
fundamentalism,
Yeah.
but like it's not like different people have that different vein, and like they want everybody to conform to that.
Yeah.
But of course, not everybody does, and of course, it's a lot. I've complained about it before because Paul says like, "What have I to do with judging the outsiders?"
Yeah.
It's like it's not our concern what they're doing, but we make it our concern for reasons that I suspect are just Christian nationalism. It's just what it really is.
Yeah.
Um, but it's absurd when like we can look at how these actions actually have negative effects,
Yeah.
and we take the action, and I mean we, not you and me, but like the
Right.
church, right, will often take these actions that create greater negative effects
Yeah.
instead of trying to minimize that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in a world where the church has kind of gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, what is the fix? Like I have
Well,
my ideas. Like I think like in a big picture way, I think the church has lost sight of the fact that it looks nothing like Jesus anymore.
I would agree with that. I think that the biggest part of that fix that I can put into meaningful words
Yeah.
is going to be Jesus, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
read the Gospels. Who was Jesus? Who did he talk to? Who did he serve? What did he do? Who did he help? Who did he scream at? And then just let's go that way.
Right. Exactly
Because
right.
when the command is to love your neighbors yourself, you cannot say you love your neighbors yourself when you refuse to to offer to adopt the baby that they cannot raise.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's about as well as you can put it. Um, yeah, I think it is a daily battle to keep ourselves oriented towards Christ. Um, I think human nature is human nature, and we are very self-oriented, and we just need to keep reminding ourselves that it's not about your political affiliation, it's not about your local community affiliation. We have made an affiliation with Christ Jesus, and that needs to be our orientation. And if our orientation doesn't look to others just like Jesus looks, then we've lost the plot.
Big time.
Indeed. All right. So I think that pretty well covers that. Um, we so much appreciate you, all the viewers and listeners of the podcast. It's an amazing thing still to see the fact that people are interested in what we have to say, and we're so appreciative of it. By all means, if you have a thought about this, if you think there's something to be said for the current fundamentalist nature of the church and the way it acts, we'd like to hear your defense of that, because maybe there's something we're not considering. So leave us a comment at YouTube. By all means, we'd love to hear it, and subscribe, and drop us an email, churcheslanepodcast@gmail.com.
And with that, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.